All right, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. I am C. This is my tech shed, and today we have 4 Xbox Series S in deplorable conditions, if I say so myself. So this one, starting off, has a custom paint job, looking very fantastic here. But the main condition with all of these consoles is broken USBs. So if we go ahead and take a look at all of them, look at this one, AMD Ryzen 5 edition. This one actually looks fine. So we'll look further into that one, but yeah, they're all pretty messed up. So let's go ahead and get these set up and power them one by one. All right, we have them labeled, so now we can keep track of them. I'm gonna go ahead and stack them, and let's put some power in video, and let's see what happens. All right, starting off with number 1, we got power and video. We have power. Oh no. All right, power and video. Awesome. Love that. I need to get a capture card so you guys I can like put on the side of the video what you see. So we have power, we have video. Awesome. Love that. Let's go ahead, swap to console 2. Console 2 is the black one, the spray painted. Oh, this one, I'm not feeling any click from the power button, or it's really spongy. I'm gonna plug it in. Yeah, nope. So this one we're just gonna go ahead and skip. All right, we're going for number 3 now. Ooh, that HDMI felt very tight. I don't know if it was brand new, swapped out, but it felt pretty good. Not good, it just felt pretty tight, like it was a brand new port. Power, signal, love that. Again, the front port on this one, it's no bueno. We are loading in. Still loading in. I'm gonna pause the video until we get to the next splash screen. Well, it's been like 5 minutes and it hasn't moved to another screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume there's something else wrong. We are going to power it down and investigate further. So we're not looking good. Between no power and another no boot. Let's hold the power button. All right, off. Let's go ahead and check out number 4. Yeah, we have our work cut out for ourselves. This is good though. It seemed like with the last set of Xboxes, I didn't even get a chance to do any actual repairs. I just did some minor fixes, and honestly, some of them didn't even end up needing repairs. So these are actual repairs. It'll be nice to do some actual tech fixes on this channel rather than just minor fixes. So this one, perfect. Okay, so it seems like 2 out of the 4 are booting and working properly. The black spray painted one, no power, and this one has a booting issue. So I think in this video we're gonna go ahead and at least try to swap one of the working Xbox's USBs and make one completely working console. So let's pick out of either 1 or 4, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the disassembly process, and let's check it out. All right, so out of number 1 and number 4, you can see this is number 4, this is number 1. Let's bring it a little closer here. Number 4 really needs a port swap. The condition of the outside of the console looks pretty gross. I would like to get this one in working order, but this one looks like it looks like a completely working console. So we'll go ahead. The main focus on this video is doing the the front USB port swap on an Xbox Series S. So let's go ahead. Let's adjust the camera, and I'm gonna go ahead and get us started with the disassembly process. I'm gonna get the board out, and then we're gonna go ahead and go from there. So I'm not gonna do any talking. This might as well just be like a time lapse. So let's get started. All right, so now we are here. If we look underneath on this side, we have 4 anchor points and then 9 contact pins. So go ahead and take our replacement and just kind of verify that it works or that it matches up. Yep, and that looks right. So we're gonna go ahead and do the swap. First, I like to replace the old factory solder with lower melt solder, and then we're gonna hit it with the heat gun. But we want to be very careful. Let's see if I can zoom in. We got to be very careful. We don't want to blow those off. So I've never done this repair before, but I'm pretty confident. So let's go ahead and try it together for the very first time. This will also be my first time recording while doing a job like this. So bear with me. Let's get the area set up and prepped. I have my heat gun, I have my soldering iron station. I'm gonna go get those powered on. I'm gonna get my flux, my solder. Let me get my tools. All right, I have my tools. There's the most conventional way that a lot of people might do this is using solder wick. I have a desoldering gun that might be applicable in this situation, but I'm going to try to tackle the situation with the tools that I think most people would have access to. So we have solder wick, we have our flux, just some regular flux off Amazon, and then we have our 6040 tin lead solder. Our soldering iron is being heated up. I'm going to go ahead and kind of position the camera in a way to where I can show you guys. Like I said, this is my first time recording and doing the process, so bear with me. But I think if I just get close enough here, what I'm going to do is go over these contact points with the 6040 solder to lower the melting point, and then I'm going to soak it all up with the solder wick, and then we're gonna heat it with the heat gun. So let's go ahead and try it right now. All right, let's position the camera and see if I can get a little closer without. That should be a little better. All right. So soldering iron is heated up. We're gonna add our flux here. Let's go ahead and tin our iron. And then we're just going to go over these ports. From factory, it seems like they might put also like a masking resin over on top just to protect it. But in this process, we're melting that away, and we're reapplying some low melt solder to kind of help lower the melting point when we hit this with the heat gun. I'm just going to rub it back and forth and put some more on the tip of my iron. There we go. You can see it turn kind of a shinier color. That's how you know that the solder is being mixed in with the lower melt solder. All right, I want to make sure that I'm careful not to touch these right here. That's the last thing we want to burn a cap or blow a cap off. All right, I'm pretty confident. I'm not seeing this pin right here though. This with the golden outline, I'm not sure if that's like a, oh, there it goes. Spoke too soon. All right, I'm pretty confident in that. How's it look on the phone? Let's put the soldering iron up. Give it a quick wipe. There's some rubbing alcohol. Now, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna try to clean it up as best as I can, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with heat anyways and add more flux, so it doesn't need to be perfect. But as we can see, what does it look like? I gotta sit up. Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good. It looks like we got the solder in there pretty well. So let's go ahead and get some of our solder wick here. I'm gonna get it cut up into pieces, and then you don't want to use it in a long strip like this because it absorbs too much heat. So let's get it cut into some strips, and then I'll soak it up. All right, I got it into about inch chunks. We're gonna go ahead and put some more solder or more flux in there to help the solder flow. And then we're gonna grab our iron, and we're just gonna run it across these pads. Try to soak up as much as we can. Let's grab another one. All right, now that we got a majority of the solder out of the holes, let's clean it one last time and then prep it for the heat gun to pull the port off. All right, I'm gonna get the board set up for the heat gun. All right, we have the board in position, clamped down off the desk. I'm gonna remove this foam pad so it doesn't foam or it doesn't smoke up very bad. And then I'm gonna put some flux around the anchor points. I've already got it on the underneath side pretty decently. And we're just gonna flood this thing. All right, we have our heat gun here. It is set at 480, 90% heat. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give like a light preheating to the outside of the board. These boards are known to soak up a lot of heat, and like I said, I've never done this job before. I've done USB port swaps on PlayStations. They're pretty similar, but there's a lot less in the way. So I got my tweezers here. We're just gonna go ahead and keep this air rotating. We see some bubbling. I think there's some isopropyl alcohol under there still, so keep hitting it with the heat. We're gonna give it like a gentle nudge once in a while. All right, it's starting to wiggle a little bit. All right, and there we go. We got the port off. Let's give it a quick cleaning, and then we're gonna inspect to make sure that nothing fell off. Be careful when you're touching this board. It is gonna be hot, so we're gonna give it time to clean. We're gonna give it time to cool off. We're gonna give it a light cleaning. We're gonna flip it over and inspect. We're gonna clean these ports out, so then we have room to put the new port in. I just burnt myself holding this port, but check this out. It's pretty toasted. This one was really beat up, but let's go ahead. Pretty clean. It went a lot smoother than I expected, but let's not speak too soon because we still have to inspect the other side. I always get nervous doing this, especially on a new job. Well, it looks like everything is there. That's awesome. We love that. Perfect. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this back into position, clamp down, and then we'll move forward with cleaning these ports or these pins. All right, since the port is off, one more time, let's hit it with some fresh solder, and then we'll clean it out just to make sure that all the old solder is out of there and we're only dealing with low melt solder. All right, let's hit this with more flux. Boom. And then we're just gonna go, let's go over this again. Not that I can't just go straight and just try to clean these ports or the pins out, but there's nothing wrong with just taking an extra little bit of care and love when doing your jobs. And if that saves me the hassle of any issues or anything, then why not? Yeah. All right, let's make sure all these solder pads, all of those for solder. For solder. Now, I'm looking at my phone while doing this. I don't recommend that. But, okay, all of it has fresh solder. Now, I'm going to bring out one of my favorite tools. Hopefully, it'll reach this far. It doesn't look like it's going to. Throw it over my workbench here. I have a desoldering gun here. It helps in situations when you have little pinholes like that, and even these anchor pins. This little machine here, I'm all zoomed in. Let's see. Zoom out. This bad boy, hello, a little too far. This bad boy helps in situations when you have a lot of desoldering to do. But I think with the angle I'm at and with how long this cable is, it's not gonna work. So I think, you know, I'm gonna get the extension cord. I'm gonna make this work, hold on. All right, let me show you this thing. It's pretty cool. It's like a soldering iron that has a vacuum on it. The tip right there, it heats up, and then you're able to suck up the solder while it's hot. It is kind of finicky. It needs to be cleaned. If it gets clogged, it doesn't work, and I haven't done any maintenance on this thing in forever. So I'm really hoping that we can get away with doing something really quick here like this. So again, can't ever go wrong with too much flux. I have my tip tinner here. We're gonna tin the tip of this. And then, let's see if I can do this. It's hard to see. There you go. But as you can see, look at that. It sucks it up, no problem. So I think I'm gonna go ahead. It keeps changing the focus. I'm gonna go ahead and get these all cleared out. But isn't that awesome? I highly recommend picking one of these up if you're doing a lot of. Boom! Look at that. That's perfect. Let's do one of these anchor pads. Needs a little more heat there. Yeah, one of the best investments I've made. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll get back. All right, boom, just like that, no time at all. Man, I love that thing. That's so awesome. I normally use it when I'm desoldering PlayStation 5 for Xbox joystick, the Joy-Con modules, those things. Awesome. So that is pretty cleaned out. Let's go ahead, get this completely cleaned. We're gonna go ahead and test fit that port, make sure it fits. We're gonna solder it back on, and it should be good. So let me do a little bit more cleaning. Okay, we verified that the port is clean. We're gonna go ahead and now put the new port on. Let's get the flux going. Let's get our heat gun. We're just gonna heat this area up to where any residual solder in the area will be loose. And then we're just gonna sit that port on top and then go in with some solder afterwards. Oh, dang it. All right, well, it dropped. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna pause it and we're gonna go find it. Okay, I found it, went under the desk. Let's try this again. Now, I don't want this whole area to get too hot. I'm getting kind of nervous. I'm getting a little sweaty and shaky if you can't tell. But I think it'll be awesome once we get this job complete. All right, it does not look like it's sitting on there. I'm gonna give the board some time to cool off so we can at least figure out. Pretty sure this pin has to get snapped in, but I'm trying not to put too much pressure on it. I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit and then we're gonna go again. All right, so maybe we did get it on there the right way. Let's see if I can get a good angle. Of course not. So, as you can see, there's like little posts that keep it from going down completely flush. And then if we look underneath, we see all the pads and everything's in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and solder these. You can see the posts underneath. So I'm hoping, by looking at it visually, it looks like it's on there, seated properly. So I'm pretty confident I did it right. Pretty confident. So we're gonna go ahead and now let's resolder, make sure these connections are good. And that should be everything. We're gonna put everything back together and reassemble. We're gonna go ahead and reassemble everything and test it, but should be good. We're gonna go ahead and put a little bit more flux. We don't wanna drown the port in flux at this point since it's on here, but we do need enough to make sure that the solder is moving. We're gonna tin our tip. Our soldering iron has to get hot first. I feel like that went pretty successful. It's always nerve-wracking doing a new job. It's always nerve-wracking doing anything new, right? But I'm pretty confident that went well. Everything looks like it's in order, but we won't know until we test it. So my iron's not heated up all the way, but so now we're just gonna hit those anchor points. Where did I put my flux? Gonna need a whole lot of flux for this area. Let me clean my tip. Tin the tip. More solder. There we go. I want to make sure that the solder is actually getting down to those anchor pins. All right, everything looks like it's good. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do a double check. All right, everything looks good to me. So let's clean it up a little bit and then find out the moment of truth if we did everything right. So I think my phone, no, I was gonna say my phone battery was about to die, but I think if I do this quick enough, we should be able to do it without speeding too fast. So let's go ahead, give some isopropyl Q-tip, nice little bath. Looks like that pin right there is not soldered. So let's touch it up again. A little bit of flux. So we are trying to clean the area. All right. We should be looking good now. Awesome. Okay, well, let's go ahead and put everything back together. So we have our old port here. And notice it has those like little feet, little standoffs, so right there in the middle. So the port does sit raised off the bed, just a little bit, but it is looking good. So let's go ahead and put everything back together. I'm gonna do a time lapse again because we went through the process again, and I'm just focusing on this repair. That is not as clean as I'd like. So without further ado, let me clean this up a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and time lapse in. Okay. Man, this thing's not wanting to go back on. All right, there we go. I just had to put a little bit of pressure. I think when heating up the back side of the port, it deformed that, and that is supposed to push into the metal plating, which makes it sit down. So we're having a little issues there, but we learned. Now we know. Maybe we'll have to take precautions to protecting that little piece. So now that we have the board in, I'm gonna go back to no talking. You know what, I'm just forgetting. I'm just realizing I forgot. We forgot. That guy goes there. All right. The moment of truth. If I remember correctly, this one did power up and it did have video. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I unplugged my power. That gave me a heart attack. All right, power cord is plugged in. Geez, power button now. Oh my gosh. Way to give myself a heart attack. Okay, so we have our controller. We have Xbox. Oh, is this the boot loop one that was stuck? Oh, great. No, never mind. Oh, wonderful. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, now we plug in. Make sure we're plugging it in the right way. Oop, we have power. It makes a sound. I mean, it vibrates. Let's pair them up. Let's go through this. It vibrates and it connects. I want to double make sure that it's working properly. So I'm gonna go through all the setup and then we're gonna verify. But it has power. It responded. So I'm hoping we're good. But let's double check. I'm just realizing I took the battery out. There is no battery. We have it plugged in. It is sending data and it is sending power. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume. I'm not gonna assume at this point. This point, it's confirmed. The USB wasn't working and now it's working. So I think we successfully did that swap. That's awesome. I'm gonna go power down the device. Let's take a look at that port. The outside looks atrocious. But Look at that port in there. Boom. Love it. Awesome. Well, it's safe to say we got that out of the way. Now we just have 4 more to do. We're going to plan on doing these as videos, but we have a lot more content coming in the future. We have a buttload of PS5s coming in for repair. On the channel so far, it's only been Xboxes. I'm trying to get some PlayStation controller repairs. I have a Nintendo Switch Lite that has some repairs needing to be done. So we got some content on the way. I just got to get this. I got to get in here and actually start grinding. I went back to work off from being on maternity leave. We just had a newborn baby. So life has been moving pretty fast. But that's awesome. We have a lot of work ahead of ourselves, a lot more in store for the future. If you guys enjoyed that video, if you learned something, please go ahead and drop a like. Go share the video, subscribe. It really means a lot. If you guys have any advice or any tips or any questions with repairs or just in general, I don't know a whole lot. I'm also learning myself, but that's the whole point of this channel, is to kind of share knowledge, learn, and really, I just want to take apart tech and figure out how they work and possibly make this a full-time job. But I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket quite yet. I have so much to learn. I appreciate you guys for coming along on this adventure. Like I said, we have a whole lot more in store, so please drop a follow. Make sure to hit the notification button to stay in tune with what we have so you don't miss any future updates. My name is C. This is the Tech Shed, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.